Kaže, dobrodošli, ladies and gentlemen, prijatelji moji. Večeras za vas Angi Taylor from the Fred and Angie Morning Show, Kiss FM Chicago 103.5. Ostanite tu, počinjemo za bilo koji minut, za minut, dva. Ho, ho, ajde! Oh, and she's getting ready. Isal video. Oh, yes. Oh, ljudi moji, evo veselo, ovo nema nikada. Alright, evo veselo, ovo nema nikada. Kažu ovako, dobro večer, dobrodošli Angi.
Bravo!
Dobrodošla. Dobro večer, dobrodošli Angi. You hear that screaming in the back?
Bravo!
Angie.
Why you stop the colo? Come on.
You're ready to do this, huh? You're ready to do this.
Hi, babe. Why you stop the colo? Come on.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. It's a habit. You're ready to do this. It's an habit. Let me do this. Let me get out of here real quick. Give me 1 second. It's a habit background. All right. Taylor.
You got a speaker in the background.
Let me get out of here real quick. Give me 1 second. There's an echo going on here somewhere. Huh? All right.
You got a speaker in the background.
Let me get out of here real quick. Give me 1 second. There's an echo going on here somewhere. Huh? We got this. All right. Give me 1 second.
Speaker in the background.
Let me get out of here real quick. Give me 1 second. I don't know why this is doing this. We haven't done it in any other. Yeah. Give me 1 second. So, while we do this, I'm going to do this. So, let me put on a song. While we do this, I'm going to do this. Miloš Bojnić said, samo tako, oj, nikako, ajde ovako. I'm going to play this za početak. Let me figure out what the issue is, I'll be right back. Ajde, ajde sam.
Ljubi me još dugo, mi smo jedno za drugo, ne žali sebe da daješ, nećeš da se kaješ. Mi smo jedno za drugo, ne žali sebe da daješ. Tako sve ću da ti da, ostani kraj mene, da ne budem sam.
Yes, ljudi moji. Čuj. O, da. Idemo. All right, we're back, prijatelji moji. Samo tako kaže, evo, Miloš Bojanić, as they would say, Miloš Bojanek, right? Šta da vam kažem? Prijatelji moji, she's back. I think we got it fixed. I think, čekaj, samo sekund. 1, 2. Miloš Bojanek, right? Šta da vam kažem? Prijatelji moji, she's back. I think coming from you, Ann. Samo sekund. 1, 2.
Čekaj. I don't know how to. I don't know why we have like a feedback. I'm so sorry. I'm like a radio broadcaster. I should know how to fix this.
So yeah. So let's.
I don't know why we have like a feedback. I'm so sorry. I'm like a radio broadcaster. I should know how to fix this.
So we're gonna wait. We're trying to get this radio.
I don't know why we have like a feedback.
I
took them out.
Them out. So we're gonna wait. Have them in. Oh, is your maybe your are you watching the show on Facebook or YouTube? Maybe turn that off.
Shut everything else down. Hey. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm like,
too much Slivo and Vino. Sorry. No, I literally like had it on YouTube. I had it on 15 different things. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to do that to you, Goran. My bad.
Opušteno, sestro. We're good to go. Welcome. Dobro došla. It's only fitting for a beginning like that with Angi Taylor.
The big mess that I am. Hello. You see that I wore this for you tonight, yeah?
Yes, thank you. After the most better picture.
What is more Serbian than me in a tracksuit, right?
Angi Taylor, ladies and gentlemen, braća I sestre moje. Welcome to our show. It's a show called Got Time. We try to find out ko si ti, right?
Yes.
We heard Angi Taylor's talking about being Serbian on the radio. Oh my God. Angi Taylor. I said, okay, cool. Let's see. So Angi Taylor, još jednom od početka. Dobrodošli. All right, let's do this. Let's go back in time. Let's see who you are. Odakle si, all that jazz. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me, were your parents born here or?
No. So I am first generation. My parents were both born in. My father. I don't know. Sometimes, like I hear he was born in Croatia. My mom and her family is from Vojvodina and some Banja Luka, Novi Sad. Like I had to call my Tetka Vesna tonight to find out like exactly where everybody's from because the stories are always different.
Yeah.
I don't know when anybody's birthday is because those are always different. I don't know if that's the same with you, but like, so my family came here late 60s, early 70s. My Baba and Deda came here. of course, somebody always brings you, right? So Uncle Louis Uyak brought them to Canada, and they were in Canada, and then they came to Minnesota and worked in factories. Basically, my grandfather worked in a factory in Minneapolis. My grandmother worked in a factory as well, and most of my family did too. And I was born in 1973. My mother, as for what my father says, and the first time he brought me to Yugo, back then it was Yugo. The first time he brought me to his mom's house, my Baba's house, Baba Nena. He brought me to her house, and I stayed in their house on the farm, and he looked at the bed and he goes, I made you here. And I was like, this is really gross. And I have to stay in this room. Like, this is disgusting. So I always say I was made there or born here.
Right.
So I was born in 73. I'm an old lady. I'm 46. So I was first generation, like right off the boat.
And when they came here, where did they go? What city did they go to?
I think first Canada, and then they came to
where in Canada?
Yeah. I'm sorry?
Where in Canada?
I have no idea. They just went to meet Uyak in Canada. That's all I know. Okay. And then they came to St. Paul in Minneapolis.
Got it.
My Baba and Deda also were in Duluth for a while, Minnesota. There's a lot of Serbs on the Iron Range up there. I think so they just followed wherever the Serbs were, they were. And that's where we always were. And I grew up in between my mother and father, who split when I was 3. I was with my father for a time in South Minneapolis. I was with my mother for a time in the northern suburbs. So it was a very back and forth life for me with everybody.
So let me take a look at this. We're going to share a picture, and you can tell me who this is. Koyo.
Oh, Dedo. That's my Deda.
That's your Deda.
Urosh. And of course, I'm drinking beer. Pivo. Little hams, I think that is. Urosh had me drinking first. So cheers to Urosh. R.I.P. He died a few years ago. He had dementia. He was more of a father to me, honestly. Goran than anybody. That's my daddy. That's Teta.
Deda, right?
Yeah.
Deda, Urosh, tell me about this picture right here. Who's that?
That's Stanko. That's my father.
That's your dad, right?
Yes.
So,
Tata. That's Tata. Of course, Tata's got the shlivo in his hands. He was so good looking though, right? He's still alive. He lives in Arizona right now. Baby blue eyes, probably the most beautiful man I've ever seen. Everybody thought he looked like Robert De Niro when we were growing up. He even used to pretend he was Italian. I'm like, how dare you? But yeah, beautiful.
Tell me about this one right there.
Oh, mommy. That's my mama, Vida.
Vida, right?
Vida. Vida was 18 when she had me.
Okay.
Little like that. I was probably only like 6 months old there. Yeah, Vida.
So where's Vida living nowadays?
Vida is in as they call it, Stillwater, Minnesota, which is on the border of Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Okay.
She likes to go. She's retired now. She likes to walk in the park, look at the leaves. She likes to look at the flowers. She goes for walks all the time. My Baba is still in Minnesota. A lot of my family is still in Minnesota. Most of my family is still in Minnesota, actually.
When you say Minnesota, you're talking like St. Paul, right?
St. Paul, Minneapolis, like Wisconsin border, kind of all around there. Yeah.
So, Angie, they come to the States, they get to Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Where does Dad go to work? Stanko. I'll check it. How many? You have siblings too, right?
I do, but like I said, my Stanko and Vida got divorced when I was 3. So Stanko remarries. He has Marco. Okay. My brother Mirko.
All right.
He's named after my grandfather in Serbia. And then my mom went on to have 2 more children, Linda and Sean. And so they all live there. But my father had a million jobs. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
Tata had all these jobs where I'm like, can I have $20 to go to the movies with my friends? He's like, ew. And then there's $100 bill. I'm like, what the hell is this? and we find out Tata is maybe selling shit off the back of it. I'm sorry, Baba, selling things off the back of a truck or whatever, you know, like he just did whatever job to have whatever job. At that time, they were hustling. I mean, my parents were hustling. We were poor growing up. We didn't have much at all. And especially after he and my mother got divorced, we lived with my Baba and Dada in St. Paul. And they raised me for most of my, I mean, still to this day, my Baba just turned 86. She is, if you want to know where my attitude, my big mouth, my everything came from, that's my Baba. She's everything.
Since we brought up Baba, let's show a little quick clip of Baba.
Oh boy.
You want to give the intro to this clip? You saw it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, with Jason, my husband, Jason. So she's a flirt, first of all. And she, you know, loves to entertain the men in the room, not like in any type of way. But they, you know, I didn't get married until I was 37. So Baba used to be like, you lesbian? You just tell me what is it? And I'm like, no, Baba, I just haven't found anybody and working on my career. It's unheard of, right? In our culture. So once I finally got married, she's like, you're going to ruin it. He's going to leave you. So I think she takes it upon herself to make sure that my husband is happy. And I'm like, I think I can do that. But Baba makes sure that, you know, he's taken care of.
Well,
so,
Baba's introducing you to.
Yeah.
Right?
Bako,
Okay.
what are you doing over here?
I'm fix your husband.
You're fixing my husband?
Angie's been trying to do that for 10 years.
Do you think I'm the one that messed up his back?
Oh, yeah?
My back was really good 10 years ago. I
It
can
was
tell you
me?
Naughty girl.
Yeah, well, she's the naughtiest girl of them all. Like, Baba is the best. I love her.
Baba Vida.
Baba Nada.
Baba Nada. Sorry, Vida.
Mama Vida. Baba Nada.
Mama Vida. Though. So you grew up in Minneapolis. Now, are you part of the Serbian community? Tell me a little bit about growing up. Do you go to? I know there's a church. I think there was two in
Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. So growing up, I loved going to the church. I always wanted to do the folk dances, like my cousins and everybody were doing. But we weren't in the church enough. My Baba was. She was always like the treasurer of the church. She was always the one cooking in the basement. You know what I'm saying? Like. I loved going and like just hanging out with my cousins. I always feel like your cousins, especially Serbian, they're your first best friends in the whole wide world. Sure. So hanging out with cousins and Kuma and everybody was so fun. We weren't in the church maybe as much as I wanted to be, but I always loved going to festivals there. There wasn't a lot, I mean, but my family found their little Serbian community there.
Sure.
But we also had one of my aunts she worked in Chicago here. She was, before the Intercontinental on Michigan Avenue it used to be the Radisson in the early 80s.
Okay.
And so Rada used to be at the Radisson, Rada at the Radisson. And so we would come to Chicago and I would be like, my God, I would give anything to live in this city one day. And I just remember how like seeing Chicago and thinking that was the end of what I ever aspired to be in life, and knowing how many Serbs were here. And every time we were here, there was a party and we would go to Serbian Fest. And I was like, my God, this is crazy. Because in Minnesota, I mean, it's Minnesota, you know, and
It's limited. Okay.
there wasn't a lot going on, you know, but I've always had Serbian pride, but I never had a place to put it, especially in Minnesota. And so I feel like I'm with my people more here in Illinois and in Chicago, Indiana, like all over.
Yeah, the region, right?
Yeah.
Tell me, did you listen to Serbian music growing up, or like back in that, or were you one of those people that just heard the radio blasting with Serbian music? Like, tell me about that.
A little bit of both. Like, we would, whenever there was a celebration or whenever there was, you know, a pig, if there was a pig on the roast, I knew we were going to hear Serbian music. I knew there was going to be a cola. I knew there was going to be something. And then, like going to any of the festivals I used to love, my dad took me for the first time to see his mother in Serbia. And so like, that's where I gave you the Miloš and the Lepa Brena. I remember him saying in the 80s, Lepa Brena is like Madonna. And I was like, oh my God, Lepa Brena is everything. So I wasn't as exposed as some people are. I really think that all of my family, especially us being first generation, really wanted us to be Americanized, you know, because they needed help becoming American. And I think anybody that's first generation understands reading bills for your parents and your grandparents.
Reading bills, filling out applications.
Yes, and answering the phone and doing business on the phone and all of these things that you're probably not equipped to do at 10, 11 years old. I always tell the story on the air, on the radio, where when I would come home from school, I would show my mom my homework, you know, like, and we would watch Sesame Street together because Sesame Street would break down the English language. And I think she learned a lot from me going to school and also from watching Sesame Street. So as much as I wanted to be immersed in Serbian culture, there was some, but they also, you know, first generation, they want to be Americans too. And so it's up to us kids a lot. There's a lot of pressure on us to make sure that they're comfortable, they understand the language and the bills that are coming in and the people that are calling. And so there was, I mean, I wish I would have been more immersed. I think that comes, you know, maybe with people that grow up in places like Chicago where there's such a culture here, and you could go to a whole neighborhood and everybody speaks Serbian and everybody has, you know, it's all that. So we just didn't have that in Minnesota.
So you grew up in Minnesota. Your parents divorced early, right?
Yeah.
Your dad remarries somebody Serbian or American, or?
No, my dad remarried an American, an Irish woman, beautiful woman, an amazing stepmother. Her name's Kathy, and they together had my brother Marko Mirko, who's named after my deda from Serbia. Marko went on to be an amazing military man. He was in the capture or kill terrorist unit of the Army Rangers. He's amazing.
Okay.
And then my mother went on to also marry an American man who was not a good person, but gave me my sister Linda and my brother Sean.
Got it. All right. So, you know, I saw you on somewhere you put on social media. I think it was a picture of you three. I'll find the picture soon enough. But how different was it when they did marry, and how long were they divorced before they remarried?
So I don't remember them being married at all. They got divorced at 3. So all I remember from that time is living with Baba and Deda with my mom, because she was, you know, single mom at that point, only 20 years old. I can't even imagine having a 3-year-old daughter at 20 years old and like, where am I going to live? So we lived with Baba and Deda in St. Paul, and she started dating an American man. I don't really remember much about them dating. I just remember not liking him from the jump. And then my father I didn't see him for very long. You know, my father's always been a wanderer. Like, he's never been stable being in one place. So, you know, in Serbia, from what I've heard, his family was had a little bit more money. My family didn't have that much. And from what I've heard, my family worked for his family at some point. And that's where he met my mother. He's older than her. And they fell in love, and he also was in the military and kind of traveled around a lot. So I never really saw my father. And then when he and my mother divorced, he was just kind of gone most of the time, you know, like, didn't really see him that much. And he's still alive. He's, I think, in Phoenix. I mean, sometimes we speak, sometimes we don't. He got me this tracksuit. I love that. So, you know. I love my family, but it's you know, a rocky road when, you know what,
like most families, there's potholes, right?
Potholes.
So you're nothing neobično. It's the way life works, I guess,
for
right?
sure, and all for good reason. I mean, I wouldn't be who I am without all those potholes, right?
You know that old saying, right? Ko zna zašto je to dobro, right? You never.
Oh, good. I love that.
Well, tell me about this right here. I got a picture. Who are these young ladies?
So, God, I hate you. Okay, so listen, this is when Arsenio Hall was very cool. And so hence the green, like, lame shirt I had on. So that's me, obviously. These are my mother's children. that she had after she and my father divorced. That's my sister Linda and my brother Sean.
Got it.
Both in their 30s. Linda just turned 40, actually. So yeah. I said in that, I'm like, this is what happens when your extremely European mother goes and marries an American. We look so different, right? Like, it's like, what is this family picture?
So now you're growing up in Minneapolis. You're going to high school in Minneapolis. And then do you have like this thing for radio? Is that what you wanted to do?
No.
Is that what you wanted to do when you grow up?
I mean, I always this is going to be, I don't know how old you are, Goran.
42.
Woo! Okay. So you might remember listening to the radio and recording on a boombox, right?
Yes.
Pause, record, play. So I would try to listen to my favorite songs, and I would always try to like talk up those songs. So like, I don't know, Bobby Brown would come on and I'd be like, la, 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 like talk my talk. And so I always music was an escape for me. I did not have a really great childhood. So I was always in my room listening to music. That was saving me. So I knew I wanted to I didn't know what I wanted to do at all in life. I just knew that I wanted to be in entertainment in some sort of capacity. Like I had an uncle that played instruments, and he had a show, and another one, like a lot of people were interested in entertainment, but none of them really did anything with it. So I was in high school. I left early. I got kicked out of my house early at like 16. I got kicked out.
It's getting interesting. Hold on. Let me focus here. Go ahead. You
did the zoom in.
I did, because I'm just like, what?
I got kicked out of my house at 16. I was living at that time with my mother and her husband. He was not, like I said, a good man. Yeah. So I was forced out. I lived with Baba Nada for a while, and then I was kind of on my own. And I stayed in school until 11th grade and didn't have any place to live and really didn't have any direction, and quit school and lived with a boyfriend. And I was kind of couch surfing on people's couches, and whoever would kind of take me in. One of my tetas, Teta Lepa, took me in for a while. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. And finally, I was like, I can't believe I quit high school, because I was a good student. And so I went back and got my GED. I went to college. I was the first person in my entire family that ever went to college. And while I was in college, I was bartending at a nightclub. And in Minnesota at that time, you could be a bartender at like 19 years old.
Okay.
So I was a bartender at 19, and in a very busy nightclub, and the local radio station there, which was KDWB in Minneapolis, had a lot of the jocks, the DJs that would come in, just to like club hype and, that do appearances. And you know how you sit at the bar after Pivo and like everybody's smoking, we sit and we're talking, and one of the DJs was like, oh my God, you're so fun. And would you want to be an intern? And I'm like, what do you mean an intern? Like, he's like, intern for me, and you could get college credit. And I was like, college credit? Yes. Because I was paying for college myself.
Right.
And, like interning, college, bartending at night. It was nonstop. So I interned for like 6 months. The first week I started interning, I'm like, this is it. Like, this is what I want to do. I fell in love with radio immediately. And thank God, because I literally have no other skills. Like, if I get fired from radio, I'm in big trouble.
Okay. So your first break comes in as an internship in Minneapolis.
Yes.
And how does that expand? When do you get the promotion? Let's do this.
The big break. So,
well, I mean, is that where you got the break in Minneapolis? Yeah.
Well, like Minneapolis is where I learned every little thing, like the technical stuff, and learned how. And then I took a job in St. Cloud, Minnesota, which is way up north. I worked there for a while, and I kept begging Minneapolis to hire me just to do weekends or something. Like, can I get a job here? And they kept saying, no, you suck. And finally, like after a year, they hired me to just do weekends. Okay. And then the woman who was doing morning drive, like the big morning drive female host, okay. This was at the time where we were in the Olympics in China somewhere. I want to say, I don't remember, in the 90s.
Okay.
But she went to China for the Olympics and they needed a fill-in. And so I was like, I'll fill in. This would be great.
Perfect.
I filled in and 2 weeks later, I got that job. I didn't mean to take the job, but I got the job.
Talking about talents, that's what it is right there.
But it was so scary because at that time I'm only like 24. I'm the youngest person, and this is the radio station, by the way, that I grew up on, listening to all the time as a kid, and it was so surreal for me to be doing mornings in the same city where I grew up, and
Right.
So that was kind of amazing.
So you get this big break. You start working in Minneapolis, right? You did it, right? You're like, oh my God, this is cool, right?
Yeah.
Do you immediately feel that power, that elevation to the next level, or not really? No?
Not at all, because I'm in my mind, I'm still at home working, anywhere. In my mind, I'm still home. I'm still working. Like I don't see people on the street that are like, oh, look, like I hadn't left home yet. And I felt like I needed to see the rest of the country and really like go other places and be away from my family and like figure out who I was outside of everything I went through.
Sure.
Because my childhood was not great. So I'm like, I couldn't wait to get out of Minneapolis, to be honest. I loved my time there. I loved the people there, but I knew there was something else waiting for me. And one of my big dreams was Chicago, but I was on the air doing mornings in Minneapolis for about 6 years, and I got a call to go to Philadelphia.
Okay.
So I went from Minneapolis to Philly, which is a nice upgrade.
And you didn't think about it, right? You got the call. You're like, I'm out of here. Toto.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I probably would have honestly gone anywhere at that point. I probably would have, because I just didn't have a lot of great memories and moments in Minneapolis. And it reminded me of kind of a lot of struggle. And so I wanted to go somewhere where I could start over and create my own life. Like I understand that my family came there and they struggled so hard, and I would not even be in this country if they didn't come here. But there was a lot of pressure on us and a lot of bad things that happened. So I really just wanted to go out and find myself outside of my family and outside of a lot of the trauma that happened, and figure out what kind of person I was. Maybe I go back to Minneapolis. Maybe I never go back. Like maybe I go to a different country. I don't know. I just wanted to see, what would happen if I left. And I really enjoyed finding myself. I don't think I found myself really, honestly, until I left.
So Philly's your next stop, right?
Yeah.
Where do you go in Philly? What do you do in Philly? How do you do this? Morning?
Philly, I'm doing the morning show in Philly. I'm doing basically what I did in Minneapolis. I'm the morning host in Philly. I loved it.
Solo host?
No. I worked with a man named Chio, Diego, Booker, like a lot of people, but I was basically what I was doing in Minneapolis.
You want to know what Philly station were you on?
Q102 in Philadelphia.
All right. That was one of the questions. All right, go ahead.
Where do you see the questions? Can I see questions?
They're popping up. Sure, I'll put them on the screen right there. Yasmina, she's out of the which says, what Philly did you work at, right?
Yeah, Philly Q102. So I worked at Q102 for a long time, off and on a couple years. Mm-hmm. I'm in Philly. I loved Philly. I'm going to be honest, 100%. Are you ready for me to be 100% honest?
Dude,
one of the best.
Hold on, check it.
Check it.
Me, the team minute this whole time.
I haven't, but I want to. I just want to say, when I left Minneapolis, mm-hmm. It was perfect timing because things were so crazy when I was there. I honestly was thrilled to leave. I had a conversation with my boss before I left Minneapolis, and he said, "You have an opportunity to go to Philadelphia. Either you go to Philadelphia or you're going to go to rehab," because at that point I had developed a pretty nasty drug addiction. And so leaving Minneapolis was probably the life-saving thing for me. And so going to Philadelphia was a rebirth in a way. And I loved it. And I was only there for a few years. I had a great time. I met some of the best friends I've ever had. It was nice to be in a city that was more diverse. There were so many more cultures, so many more people, so many more ethnicities, religions, things that were not in Minnesota. You know, I felt very trapped in Minnesota a little bit. I felt like I had more to do in life. And so being in Philadelphia, it was sort of like, wow, I really found myself there.
Well, let's go back for 1 second. Let's talk, you say that there was, would you call it addiction?
Oh, for sure. Yes. 1,000%. I was, well, I still I like my drink. I'm Serbian, sorry. But I also became a cocaine addict, and I was probably a hardcore cocaine addict for about 2.5, 3 years. And so I think that if I would have stayed in Minneapolis, it might have been the thing that killed me, or at least got me unemployed at the worst, and ruined my career. But I had an amazing boss who knew what I was doing without really saying, I know what you're doing, but he was trying to save my ego, or say, you know, and be like, I know what you're doing. Either get out of here or you got to go to rehab. So he kind of saved my life, and moving to Philly really did. But, you know, that was the end of Minnesota for me. And it's like one of the reasons it's hard for me to even go back and see my family sometimes, because I don't know, every time the plane lands in Minnesota, I get that feeling like of, I don't like it here, and there's bad memories here. And I mean, it's horrible to say, because some of the people I love most in the world are there. My baba is there, you know, my tetas are there, like my mother is there, and so it's hard for me it's a hard thing to process in your brain when you love a city and you love the people so much, but you don't love the memories. And I just want to stay far away sometimes. I just talked to Baba last month, and she's like, ay, oy, Angel, when you come see me, I'm so old, I'm going to die. I'm like, Baba, she is not. She's like full of energy, but it just is like, I don't know, you know?
Were you able to just, you know,
I could cold turkey.
That was my question, yeah.
Yeah.
Samo ono, odjednom prestala, forget it, to je to.
That's it. Like cold turkey, because I don't think it became habitual, and it just became an escape in my head. I wanted to escape, right? So here I am going to a new city. Like, why do I have to escape? I'm leaving.
Sure.
So
did you have a best friend growing up that helped you through these situations?
I had my teta Vesna was my best friend. She was only a few years older than me. And so, you know, she was like my best friend through everything, but I didn't tell her what I was going through, because I didn't want to disappoint her. You know, I felt like my family was, I don't know. They would never have understood what I was going through. And so I didn't want to discuss what I was going through with them. I was ashamed. I was totally ashamed. And imagine telling our family, hi, I have a drug addiction. Like, they would have kicked my butt.
So you get to Philly, new show, new slate.
New slate.
Idemo. Šta se desi? How long are you in Philly, and how does that move?
Philly was great. Philly was amazing. I was there for 3 years. We were nominated for this award, best radio show in Philadelphia. We have to go to LA to see if we win it. Hi, Nicole. We have to go to LA to see if we win this award.
Mm-hmm.
I go to LA. I meet a guy while I'm there, right?
Opa.
The guy,
Hmm?
radio producer, lives in Chicago, right? And so I meet him. We strike up this romance, long distance romance. He's in Chicago. I'm in Philadelphia. We start dating long distance. I become pregnant. I have a contract in Philadelphia. I still had 2 more years that I had to work under this contract. And I become pregnant, and I'm like, oh my God, I have no family here. All of a sudden now I miss my family. I have no family here. I have nobody here. My boyfriend is in Chicago. So I went to my boss, and I'm like, listen, I didn't plan this. At this time, I'm 30 years old. And I'm like, I didn't plan this, but I'm thrilled to be pregnant, but I have to leave. And my daughter's father was like, come to Chicago. Let's figure it out. We didn't know each other very well. Honestly, we didn't know each other very well. But I was like, this is my chance to be a mother, and I have to at least try and see if we can work it out and see if we can have a family.
Are you pro-choice or pro-life?
I'm sorry?
Are you pro-choice or pro-life?
Oh, I'm pro-choice all day, honey.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because, you know, you didn't have an abortion, right? You wanted to have a
Not that time. But honestly, like at that time, I'm 30 years old. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to get rid of this. I just felt different. I was at a different time in my life. I was clean. I was sober. I was happy. And I really thought that I loved that person. And I did, you know, at that time. So
How long were you together before you got pregnant?
Not long, months, a few months, like, yeah. 3 months. It was fast.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Like, I mean, I know this is probably really like harsh reality stuff, but this is like the way my life was. And
it is what it is.
Yeah. So
continue.
So he said, come to Chicago. We'll figure it out. Of course, I'm going to try and figure it out and see if we can make a family and be together. And we tried for a long time. We tried for 3 years. And
another three. Okay. Bravo, okay.
Jeden, dva, three.
Right. So,
3 years we tried. Okay. And you're right. There must be something with, oh my God, you just killed me, because 3 has always been like my soccer number, my favorite number, you just blew my mind, babe.
That's all right. You're okay.
Okay, so 3. I have a thing about 3. Like I blow my life up every 3 years.
They released you from the contract in Philly.
They did. They were really cool about that. I mean, I don't know that they would do that for a lot of people, but they were really sweet and let me go. So I moved here. I'm in Chicago for 3 years. He decides to do something else. And I found out that he was doing something else and decided it was time for me and my cerca to move. And I saved up money while I was with him. I wasn't working. I quit working. So I wasn't working for 3 years. I was doing like little side jobs, voiceover work, blah, blah, blah. And was saving all this money because I knew something wasn't right. Really? And I just felt it. I just knew it. You know if something's not right. Sure. You know if something's, I don't know, you're supposed to be in a certain place with someone and it just wasn't right. So
what part of the city did you live in when you moved to Chicago?
We lived in the South Loop.
All right.
Yeah, South Loop. And then so I moved out with my daughter when
you keep saying daughter. Does she have a name?
Adriana.
Oh, Adriana. No.
Adriana. Anna. So Anna and I moved. And then like I said, I wasn't working for a while. So I started banging on doors in Chicago of radio stations. I'm like, hey, I don't know if you know me. I'm not from here, but I need a job. Can I do anything? Can anybody hire me? Here's my resume. Like, here's where I've worked. And I knew a couple people here and there, but nobody that was in a position to hire me. And so finally I got hired to do traffic, which I have never done traffic. So I'm reporting on Chicago traffic. Mind you, I never had a car, Goran. I never had a car in Chicago. So I'm doing traffic, reporting on these roads. And there could have been a school bus crash on a road that I couldn't pronounce. And I would skip it and be like, I don't know that road. Anyway, next, like there's a traffic jam on the Kennedy, whatever, Dan Ryan, yada, yada, yada. Like if I didn't know the name of the road, I would just skip it. Like that. I was the worst traffic director on the planet. I was doing the morning show with Drex and Mal T on Kiss FM, but I was doing traffic and I was like the absolute worst. Just praying that they would hear my personality through the traffic and maybe hire me for something else.
Wow.
Okay. That's a lot to unload.
Oh yeah. Take a sip, sister. I'm sure a lot of our Gleda here are just like,
I'm so sorry if I
Netflix Vachetas, put it away. No Netflix tonight.
No Netflix. Oh boy.
Oh no, it's the Angi Taylor show, man.
Oh no, it's like that bad.
It's not that bad. It's I'm sure, and I can almost guarantee you, it's those who don't know you, and even those who do, this is surprising, right?
Why?
Surprising.
Why
And
do you think that?
I believe it is because you are still in the industry. You've
Mhm.
been able to overcome these situations where many people would not have been able to do it. You know,
I think that's in our DNA though, don't you think?
that's what
I
that lady
think
said. Lily said it. Look, she said it.
Who said?
Lipska snaga.
It's in our DNA. I feel like my baba was in labor camps in World War II, separated from her mother and her sister, and the stories that she has. And I feel like, especially the women, you know what I'm saying? I'm no offense, but I feel like the women, like everything we've been through, especially like hearing my Bubba's stories, it's in our DNA, like the struggle that we've all been through. And so we're a stronger people, I feel like,
I agree. That whole region is, I agree.
Yeah. They've been through a lot of trauma, our families. So
bloodshed and so much difficulty.
yes.
It's just amazing.
And separation from family and just trying to do something better for your own family or your own life. And that's where I was like, oh my God, like, what am I doing with my life? I'm like pissing this away, what my Bubba gave me. Like, she brought us here. Like, I know I could do something better. So what am I doing to myself? And I think, it just, I appreciate you saying that, but I think you would do the same, like, I think any of us would do the same.
All right. We would think, right? You would hope. Right. So you get to do traffic, you go on the morning show, it's showtime for you.
Yes.
And how do you now
navigate that?
Yeah. Your way to where you
listen, if you give me a door, I am going to kick that door open. You are going to know that I am here. I am going to show you who I am, and you can't deny me. Like, if I really feel that opportunity is that time and opportunity. I was ready for it. I was ready. And when you get that time to walk through a door, if somebody opens a door for you, you got to go in and like show off. You got to go in and do your best. And although I'm doing the worst traffic report in Chicago, I'm making sure that I'm commenting on everything else that's going on and the relationship. I was not going to let that opportunity leave, because I knew if I didn't take it at that moment, that's it. Like, where am I going to go now? I'm a single mother. Right. Single mother with a 3-year-old. What am I supposed to do? I have no money coming in. And this was my moment. I felt like my mother at 18, at 20 years old with me, when she had nothing going for her. Like, what are you going to do? You better figure it out. So I had that moment of like, shit, it's not just me anymore. I have to figure this out. I had to do something, and I knew I was capable. So I had an opportunity and I took it. And unfortunately, the show that I was on, they let go of the host, Drex and Mel, who I love, and luckily kept me. And I was like, okay, what's happening next? And then Fred came in. And that's where we are now.
So let me ask you a question. In this entire period, did you ever date a Serb?
Oh, yo.
Opet neka muka, Bože. Samo neke muke, čoveče, šta je?
Oh my God. Bubba would be so happy. No, honestly, I dated one Serb. When I was in Philly, I dated a Serb. I dated a hockey player that was a Serb.
What's his name?
Branko Radovojevic. Actually, I think he was actually not full Serb. He was something else too. Anyway, Branko, I dated Branko for like a minute, and he wasn't very nice to me. I'm scared to date Serbs. You men like scare the hell out of me.
So
you're gonna backhand me?
Bruka. I just want you to know, look, Teta Vesna here.
Teta Vesna. Oh, my love. That's my teta. The one that you said, did anybody take care of you growing up? That's my teta right there. Vesna.
So how was your, let me go back to family a little bit. I think that's important. Your relationship with your siblings as you're getting older.
Uh-huh.
Was it close? Were you guys tight? Were you?
No, I mean.
Was there, hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit, but I mean, like, So my brother Marco, I was not close with because my father left again when I was like 15. And at that time, my brother was probably 4. And, I'm so much older and I'm trying to figure out my life, and my brother's still a little kid. My sister Linda and Sean I was the oldest. Okay. So Linda and Sean were 6-7 years younger than me. And so
I got a picture of Marco. Let me just share that real quick.
oh, that's him.
Huh?
We look alike, huh?
Minus the beard, maybe.
Minus the beard. Well, he's got Tata's blue eyes, though. You can't see in that picture, but he's got these piercing blue eyes that I'm so jealous of.
Uh-huh.
I got the green eyes, but he's got blue eyes. But Marco and I are probably the closest now of me and any of my siblings. But Linda and Sean are still in Minnesota, and they have children in their own lives. And I was just so much older and in such a different world at that time. I tried to stay close. I still try to stay close, but they're adults too, and we're all doing our own thing. And
it's life.
I don't have a full sibling. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have anybody from me and my dad.
Sure.
So Teta Vesna that's on here is probably like more of my sister and so are my cousins. My cousin Zora and my cousin Punisha. Those were my brothers and sisters because we were more the same age and we all grew up together.
So tell me, even though you went to Philly, how was that relationship with Baba Dada? Right?
My Baba and Dada?
Yeah. Right?
How was my relationship with them?
Yeah. You went to Philly.
Yes.
They stayed back. I mean, was it a daily call? Was it a daily phone call?
Daily. I'm still really bad about calling Baba on that level.
Don't worry, Baba knows. Baba knows.
Baba is so mad at me because I don't call her enough. You know what I'm saying? Like every time she's like, Anjo, just call me once a month. You make my life when you call me. I love her so much. So I've always been close with my Baba. My Dada got very sick with Alzheimer's and dementia. So that was a tough time. It was hard to be away when he was going through that. The most beautiful thing I remember after he was sick, oh God, I'm going to start crying. I went to being away was very hard. And so I would have to hear these conversations all the time about how bad he was getting. And it was hard to imagine. My God, Dedo was so strong and they called him Dino because he looked like Dean Martin, just gorgeous man and strong. And we didn't have a lot of men in our family. Everybody was women in our family. They're all women. I have
a picture. I'm going to share a picture.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh gosh. That was for Father's Day. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love him so much. So when he was getting sick, it was hard to hear those stories. And, so one of the times I got to see him,
how about this one? This one should make you smile, if anything, right?
No, that makes me smile. Oh, yeah.
That makes you smile. Huh?
Yeah. See, he always used to grab her boob in pictures. That's probably the only picture I've seen where he wasn't grabbing her boob. That's how funny they are. But one of the last times I got to see him, when you have dementia, you don't remember family, obviously. Sure. And we were so close. And he always used to bring me into his garden, paprika y paradise, and show me he was so proud of his garden. My God, his front lawn, I swear, he must have had a nail clipper. He was so perfect about his lawn. And, but he didn't remember me for a long time. And when it was close to Christmas. It was the last time I saw him before I saw him in the hospital. And he hadn't recognized me ever. And he always called me Anja or Anjo. And so I walked in and Baba said, "Do you know who that is?" And he always would say Angie because he would hear somebody else say it. And I'm like, that's how I know he doesn't know who I am, because I think he heard somebody else say Angie or whatever. But at that moment, he looked at me and he's like, Anjo. And I'm like, oh my God, he finally remembers. And it was that moment of clarity that I feel like everybody with dementia or Alzheimer's might have before they're gone. And I was so happy. That was the greatest gift that I felt like he remembered me in that moment. So that was hard to not be home.
Were they always supportive? Was everybody supportive of your radio career?
Yeah. Yes, everybody really was. I don't think everybody understood exactly what it meant. I think my mom thought I worked on a jazz station for a few years and but yeah, I think everybody was supportive. Nobody ever said a negative thing. Well, I think like there were a couple times, I'm such a big mouth and I'm so open and honest on the radio. So of course they're so proud and they're like, oh my God, why'd you say this on the radio? I can't believe everybody at work is saying this. So there have been times where they've been embarrassed. For sure. I've probably made my mom cry a couple times for things that I've said, but I pride myself on my honesty. I mean, who I am is who you get. Like, I am who I am, and I never lie. I'm honest. I even Teta is on here right now. I had to call her to double check to make sure that I wasn't getting facts wrong because, sometimes things get lost in translation or we forget. And I don't want to come to the Serbs with wrong information. And
they will never let you forget it.
Exactly. And that's I'm so nervous about speaking to our people because I don't have my Serbian, polished up anymore. I've been away from home for 20 years. And so you're not speaking every day. And plus I wasn't speaking that much being there, and you start to forget. And it's embarrassing because I'll meet people that are so proud that, oh my gosh, we're Serbian. And I'm sitting here with my Serbian tracksuit. I almost feel like a stereotype because I can't speak as fluently as I would love to. You know what I'm saying?
Tell me, let me show a picture of your mom now. There you go. Is that Mama?
Lepa Vida. Yes, that's Vida.
Tell me about this picture. When was it taken?
That was taken, I'm sure it was one of the Thanksgivings, maybe 5-6 years ago. Do you see my necklace?
I mean, what it says, poema. So what does it say?
Samo, sloga.
The four C's, yeah.
Serbia, spasova.
Bravo. Čekaj, jedan aplauz, molim vas. Bravo, Angi Taylor. Bravo.
I try my best, but yeah, that's my mommy.
So you're in Chicago. You're finally on the morning show. Did you ever get married?
Yes, I've been married for almost 10 years.
Let me back to the first one. Were you ever married to the father of your child?
Never. Never. So we split when she was 3. I'm on the air at Kiss FM for a couple years. Facebook was invented, right? And so I get on Facebook. I start adding friends. I see a man that I've known for 15 years at that point because he was in the music business. And in this business, you see record people, radio people. It's a very small business. Sure. So I've known Jason for a really long time, and I always thought he was cute. And I realized he's single. I'm like, wow, Jason's single. He had never been single. So I'm single, he's single. I start liking every picture, like, oh my God, you're at a baseball game. That's so cute. That's the cutest thing I've ever seen, baseball. Just stupid flirting. And he was doing the same thing back. And a lot of our mutual friends were like, God, you guys are so obvious, just ask him out or something. He was living in LA at the time. So I, being the brash Serbian woman I am, sent a DM and said, if you want to flirt with me for real, here's my phone number. And within an hour, he called me and we talked for 6 hours that night, 6 hours the next night, 6 hours every day for a month. And finally had our first date in Las Vegas. And that first night he said, I'm going to marry you. And I'm like, I know. I literally said, I know you will.
All right,
I was already in love with him.
We're going to have an interview with Jason next week.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got stories galore.
Listen, he loves being on the radio because he loves to talk crap about me. But he would back that story up for sure.
Let's take a look at a picture od svadbe. Može?
Yay.
Angi Taylor.
Duša moja.
Kad se udala. So let me ask a question. Did you get married? Where'd you get married?
We got married at the W on Lakeshore downtown.
Right. Okay.
And it was amazing and beautiful. We did a colo, just so you know. Bubba came out. She had this and taught everybody how to do it. All the white people were out there doing it. It was amazing. So we had a really beautiful wedding. It was great. We had some Serbian touches. I did not do the Orthodox traditional. I just, I didn't do the whole crown. I kind of regret that I want a crown.
Never too late.
Yeah, it's our 10-year anniversary next year. I'm like, maybe we'll do the crowns. Do they do that in Orthodox?
We will set this up. I will get you a number to our Cathedral Dean at Holy Resurrection, Serbian Orthodox Drive. We'll get.
I don't know. I might, the church might burn down if I walk into the church. I'm afraid.
The church will clean your soul, Sestro.
Oh, my soul.
I'm telling you, that's what it does. So, okay. So you guys, how long are you talking before you decide to tie the knot? And what does he think of you? Does he have any children yet?
No, he had never been married. He'd never had any children.
Right.
In fact, I even said to him, I'm like, are you nervous dating a single mother? I have a 3-year-old.
Right.
And he said, I really respect it because I can, you have to be a responsible person to be a mother on your own. I understand that you're a hustler, you're responsible. He's like, I think it's sexy that you're a single mom. And I was like, wow, that's cool. Wow. He's like, you can take care of yourself. You can take care of people. That's amazing. So we started dating in July. We were engaged by January.
Bro. Okay. Almost
Serbian.
Right. I mean, I just want to remind you that, first it was the 3 months right away, and then you get pregnant. Uh-huh. It was 3 years you were trying to make it work. And then she was 3 years old when, right?
Stop it. Why do you keep blowing my mind?
Nikola Tesla loved the number 3.
He did?
Yes, it's a huge thing.
I did not know that. Why did he love the number 3?
I can't tell you that.
Would you just do your homework on Nikola?
Yeah, don't worry. I've done it.
I love Tesla. Obviously, I love Tesla, but that's amazing. I had no idea. Yeah, I've always been drawn to the number 3. That's crazy. I never thought of that. You're pointing out all these things going on.
That's right. We'll find a date for you. Maybe the 3rd month on the 3rd. Right?
March. My daughter was born in March.
March what?
20th.
You were 3 days off.
Wait, when's your birthday?
No. I'm in June, bro. I'm talking about.
Oh, you're in June. Okay. You said 3 days.
I'm going to throw up a question.
Okay.
On the screen here.
Okay.
Idemo. Kaže Serbian General, one of our homegrown celebrities.
I love him.
Was there ever I finally made it moment in your career?
Yes, it's when Serbian General was my intern. Actually, it was, it was here in Chicago. And it was when, just as a woman, being on the radio, you're always thought of as the co-host, the sidekick, the laugh girl, the blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So when I was finally given co-billing, Fred and Angie, mm-hmm. And having my name on a show, that was oh my God, finally. I mean, I've been in radio, like I said, since I was 20. I started at 21. I'm 46. I've been in radio 25 years. Yeah. So to finally have recognition, just to put my name on a show, that's no big deal. But to me, it meant everything because
of course it did.
It was always this person's show, that person's show, this person's show, and maybe this person on the side. And I was always that person on the side. So to finally be a host of a show and have recognition for that meant the world to me. Absolutely. And so that was I felt like in my heart, I made it. I also felt like in my heart, I made it when I got to Chicago, even though I wasn't working yet. But once I got my first job in Chicago, even though I was doing traffic, I was like, oh my God, I'm on the air in Chicago. This is amazing. It's where I always wanted to be. I didn't want to be in New York. I didn't want to be in LA, which most radio people want. I wanted to be in Chicago. It felt more like home. Like we'd come here all the time when I was a kid, you know? And so this is where I had my daughter. This is where I got married. This is my home. And it kind of always has felt that way. You know how you have a pull to a certain place growing up? I just had a pull to Chicago all the time.
So let me ask you a question. You come to Chicago, you're doing what you got to do. You finally get you got your name on the show. You're a host of that great morning show. And I need to ask, being very active in the Serbian community, I didn't see you in the Serbian community. And tell me, why do you think that is? Why you knew we were here?
Right.
Like you had such a stronger support network. I promise you that. And I want everybody to know that is the case here. You will always find somebody, at least Serbian, that is potentially willing to help you in whatever situation you may be in. And I truly believe that. So why not connect? Why miss that connection that you knew since you were a kid?
Honestly, thank you for saying that so much. And I'm so happy to hear that. I'm going to say I have been nervous to be around Chicago Serbs because I feel like it's so tight knit. It's so everybody knows everybody. I feel like I've been judged that I don't know the language as well. And I've been afraid of it being cliquey. I've met amazing Serbs like Serbian, like my friend Tanya at Astoria. I met amazing Serbs, but I feel embarrassed in my own way that I feel like I'm not Serb enough. Even though I'm first generation, made there, born here, I don't feel like I'm Serbian enough to hang with Chicago Serbs because, I mean, you guys are hardcore and I love that, but I feel like I would be judged for not knowing certain things and, I don't know.
Okay, so Ange, I would like anybody that's watching to comment on that so I can put the comments up, but that's not the case. We are a very large community. And we continue to grow here. And I can tell you that you just posting what you post on your Twitter, not everything, but the Serbian part of post on your Twitter and on your social media and whatnot is something that makes a lot of us, first generation born here, proud of your success. And we are, and you have that story. And I don't think many people, I think tonight was a rude awakening for a lot of these people, because these are some of those muke that people have to go through to get to where they're at. And they don't realize the road is, filled with potholes. They don't have that. But to get to where you have and to continue reminding people where you're from, because you're not shy. You're not shy at all. We know that. But you're very proud, and we see it. So,
I'm so proud. I'm so proud, but I don't ever want to come across as like fake. Like even my teta's on here, and I was talking to her before I had this with you, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to do my homework because I don't want to forget the village that we came from, or who came here first, and like where did we go? Like these stories get lost, and I'm like talking to her saying, oh my God, I got to put my tracksuit on. I'm like, God, that's so cheesy. And that's so corny. And that's so like, whatever, but I'm trying to represent, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying so hard to let you know that I love my people so much. And, I honestly just didn't meet a lot of Serbs when I came here. And I'm not involved in the church. And I know that's where a lot of people meet.
Yet.
You're going to bring me back?
Once we do the svadba in a year for the 10-year anniversary.
I'm telling you. Just invite me to Yaroslava. And then,
Oh, it's perfect. It's next week. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Remember what you just said. Okay. You got it.
Okay. I'll remember.
Let's do this. I got some comments. I think you're going to be very, very proud. Watch this. Okay. Here we go. Nicole says, yes, I didn't know you were Serbian, but when I found out, it made me love you so much more. Be proud.
Oh,
and that's a fact. These are genuine comments coming out. Denise says it's obviously in your soul. So you're more than Serbian enough from a
Thank
third
you.
generation Serb,
Thank you, Denise. That's so nice.
right? So there is my phone is blowing up with SMS messages, and it's something. Tell her we love her so much.
Oh,
You would be surprised
yeah.
how many of us first generation Serbs are just like you. You would be surprised, and that's the case right now, right? But I think it's all inclusive, generally speaking. So I want you to know that there is a community that is so proud of you. I think a lot of these people and a lot of these young devojke, young girls who are so proud. Serbian female success, who has overcome so much, Bogu hvala, to be where you're at. And again, here, B. Filipovic says, "Oh, never feel that way. You're an amazing, genuine person. I don't know you personally, but I'm proud of your accomplishments. To Srpkinjo naša, we love you too. E sad, po jedna rakija."
I don't have any rakia right now, but here,
Okay, it works. It works. And then again, Yasmina saying you are an awesome representation for all.
Oh, Yasmina.
This is a fact, and I just want you to know that there is a huge. I remember as a kid looking at Vlade Divac and Peja Stojakovic.
Oh yes, Vlade.
And that's the same thing when I see you, when I see Violetta, representing us.
Yeah,
it makes us proud. Trust me when I tell you that. You be the fact that you're so otvorena and iskrena. Not many people want to know that. Want to share this story.
No, I feel the same. Like it's you don't have a lot of, like, growing up in America, first generation. What Serbian representation did we have here? Vlade Divac. Yes, I was so excited. I'm like, yeah, now we have 1 million Serbs playing basketball. Ani Ivanovic. I remember being on the treadmill at the gym at FFC when she won the title, and I was bawling on the treadmill, and everybody's like, why is this girl crying about tennis? I'm like, you don't understand. Sestro, so that means so much to me. I never take for granted who I am. I'm so proud of who I am. And I get a lot of messages from people that hear me on the radio that know that I'm Serb, or like they'll call in and they'll be like, Zdravo, Anja. And I'm like, hey. So I hear it and I love it. It means so much to me that you say that. I've just been so insecure about being so American,
Well, Sonia just tuned in and she says, love you already. Never underestimate your people. We love our own no matter what. Right? Really. Here we go. Chug. Ajde, gute.
Oh, okay.
Vidite to. We're prepping for Slava next week, right?
Right? What are you making?
When's the
last time? Not making anything, are you?
When's the last time you were at a Slava?
Oh my gosh.
Wait a minute. What's your Slava?
January. It's after our Christmas, the week after our Christmas.
Is it Sveti Stevan?
Stevan.
Sveti Stevan.
So Baba has the Stevan every year. So that was probably like 5 years ago. I miss her sarma so much.
I see that you make it to Belgrade cafe and restaurant. Is that the case? You make it there often?
Not as much as I would like to, but I try to go. I go there to get my vegeta and sometimes burek and shlivo. And whenever my relatives come, they always want to go because they can't get that stuff in Minnesota. So my mom and my bubba will come and they want to go to there. And then Astoria too. I took my mom to Astoria Cafe to see Tanya, and oh my God, so anything on Irving Park, they're like, oh, let's go.
The famous Irving Park Road.
But I do love Belgrade Cafe because I love Serbian men. They're all so beautiful sitting outside. I'm just like, hi.
You have a lot to choose from them.
I don't. I'm married, but I don't.
Greška. Tell me, as far as when's the last time you were in Serbia? Or the region, as they call it over there.
So Yugo, as it was then. Not since I was 12. It was before the war. And then my baba died. That was there. My father's mother, Baba Nena, died. And so it's been since I was 12, legit. And 2 years ago, I was at a radio conference in Austria. And there was this amazing woman from Croatia there who is like the boss of Croatian radio.
Okay.
And I'll text you her stuff, but she was fabulous. And like, I've stayed in touch with her, but I am dying to go back to Serbia. I haven't been. I would love to take my daughter. I would love to take my husband. But again, here comes my insecurity.
Hold on 1 second. Who is this?
Anna and Jason. That's my family.
That's your family.
That's my daughter and my husband.
The one you just mentioned right there.
Uh-huh. Like the love of my life. That's my heart.
Koliko ima ona godina?
15.
15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo.
She's 15 and she's everything. And brilliant.
Does she feel this mom, pride and I'm sure
not yet.
One strong.
She has pride in Bubba. She loves my Bubba. She loves my Bubba because my Bubba is loud and funny and crazy and swears in front of her. And she swears in English because it's not my language, Anna. So she swears in Serbian, or no, she swears in English because that's not her language, so it's okay. And she has a lot of pride in her Serbian heritage. Mm-hmm. She's half Serbian, right? So, but as far as I am, I'm mom. Like, I'm annoying. I'm on the radio. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like anything about me, but she will one day, I hope.
It's
do we ever like our parents when we're 15 though?
Proći će i to.
Yeah.
And that too shall pass. So
right. I hope so. Nobody likes their parents when they're 15, but I love her more than she's like the air that I breathe. She's everything for me. I love her.
So tell me now, you're on the morning show. You guys are doing good. Is that where you want to stay? Is this like your final stop, maybe?
No.
Or if another offer comes, is that where you might? Hold on.
There's never a final stop for me. I'm always open to other stops. I've been on this show with Fred and Angi for 9 years. That's 3 times as long as I usually blow up my life every 3 years. So I'm due for a life blow up at some point. 3 + 3 +3. Exactly. I'm way overdue. I don't know. Like, there's never a final stop for me. I want to do anything and everything that I can, as long as I possibly can. I want to do more things in the Chicago community. I want to do more things in the Serbian community. So hello, if you're listening, watching, let me know what I can do. But there's a lot that I want to do. I mean, I've been doing radio for 25 years. I've done TV for the last 10. I don't love TV, but I feel like there's more for me in radio. A lot more. You do some humanitarian work on the side. I knew that you were a part of the Paws animal rescue. Is that correct? Yes. Right. Girls on the Run. That's a very important one, I think, in today's day and age. The other charities. Tell me, what's the nearest and dearest to your heart? Anything that has to do with women. Anything that has to do with women from, that come from an abused place. It's hard for me to put my energy into it because I have a hard time talking about it, and you have to talk about it in those situations. So anything that has to do with women, anything that has to do with immigration, immigrants. I mean, obviously, my grandmother just became a citizen before Trump got elected. Thank God. I mean, how cool. And my mom too, like my mom, both. I was a birthright citizen, right? So they were not citizens. I became a citizen and they became a citizen because they had me here. So anything that has to do with, just women and supporting women and immigration and anything like that. And mental health. 1,000% mental health. I've struggled with it my entire life. So I'm a huge mental health advocate. So any of those charities I want to do a lot more with. I know in our community, in the Serbian community, we don't speak about mental health very much, right? You sweep it under the rug, you have the fight, and then you move on and everything's, next day and we go. And the problems are still there. I think we need to speak more about mental health. That wasn't a thing growing up, right? We don't talk about that.
A lot
Right.
of topics are taboo in our community.
Yeah.
They are, and I understand that too. And I still see myself being uncomfortable bringing it up, right? And it's just because Bashbos Boktoga, right?
Uh-huh.
Who's Kakov counseling?
Yeah. Why? Yeah, why?
Я да плачем некоме, да он мені каже. I mean, that's just basic.
Exactly. That's how it goes. And nobody thinks to, I don't know, like I didn't start going to therapy until I left my house and realized that I had things I needed to get off my chest. And it's not easy growing up the way we grow up. So there's a lot that comes with it. There was a lot of abuse in my family and a lot of crazy things that went down. So I had to get that off my chest and I'm still dealing with it. And I'm an old woman. So, I mean,
Nisti Baba, bro.
almost. No, don't say, wait, I didn't say that. I didn't say almost. I can't say that with a teenage daughter. I can't say almost, but no, like, you know, I'm not 12 years old anymore. I'm an older person and I'm still dealing with some of those things that I've dealt with since I was little. So mental health is so important. And, you know, we will never get our parents and our grandparents to really talk out problems. But if we can talk them out, I think we can, you know, break some generational curses that we've all had to live with.
And you have definitely woken up our community tonight by being so genuine and it's truly appreciated. I want you to know there are Serbian organizations that I'm sure will reach out to you, such as Lifeline Chicago. They help orphanages and women's shelters, Serbia. And
let me write this down.
And you know, there's many of those that are out there. Everything, you know, from just trying to help people in general. Right?
Well, if any of your viewers or listeners would like to reach out to me and tell me how I can help more, please reach out. I'm so here for it, and I'm so thankful that you gave me this platform to speak with you. You're amazing.
I thank you for giving me the time to do it, especially to our community, who is very, very proud of you.
Oh,
you need to know this. I don't think you realize it. We because we have been looked at differently here over the last couple of decades because of the politics that are here. You know, it's promising to see.
My last name is Milosevic. I mean,
did you ever get shit for that?
Babe, I had to go to the Olympics in 2000, and I believe that was the height of the war. And I did. I got
No. Okay. There's always an issue by us every few years. Go ahead.
But yeah, but like when I was in Sydney, Australia, I had to go for the Olympics. And yes, the Olympics, of course, they're checking for anybody that doesn't seem kind of right. And here I come looking the way I look, and my last name is Milosevic, and they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, I'm not, what? Like, I'm like, it's like Johnson in Serbia. It's a very common name.
It is.
But my mother and father got married. They were both Milosevic. Nobody had to change their last name. Like, it's that common, dude. And trying to explain that to TSA in Serbia was not Serbia, TSA in Sydney was crazy. Like, I had to get double, triple frisked. So yes, that was weird at that time. I almost couldn't, like, I literally, I couldn't wait. You know what it's like growing up in school and everybody butchers your last name. And it was like,
but you always went by Angie, right?
Yeah, I always went by Angie. Always.
Angela is your...
Angela is my name.
Angela Milosevic, čujete to.
But yeah, people would butcher my name, but I almost couldn't wait to get married and change my name. But I'm so proud of being Serbian. But like having that last name brought a very bad
Here, let me say thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Fala, brate moj.
Well, everybody's like, well, why you change your name? I'm like, because Angela Milosevic doesn't flow very well on the air, and I'm not sure that anybody would know how to say that. Like, I had to come up with this very generic name, and so, but you know, I'm a Serb.
Tell me if anybody's interested in this world of broadcasting. You know, I think terrestrial radio is going to have some issues coming up in the maybe not near future. Morning shows are a little different. They're stronger. They have a very good crowd, you know, but we know podcasts on demand and things like that are really, you know, playing a role in in terrestrial radio's demise here. And tell me,
don't say terrestrial radio's demise. People have been saying that for 20 years.
Sure.
We are, let me just tell you right now, Brad, we are still most listened to medium, more than television. We're the only free medium that you have. What else is free? Radio is free. TV is not free. Nothing else is free. Radio is free. We're the most listened to. That's where everybody gets our new music first. I realize, like, it sounds old-timey radio because people listen to streaming and blah, blah, blah. Radio is still number one.
Okay.
Still. So
I just wanted you to say that, bro. That's why I said it.
Okay, good.
But
don't mess with me.
I see. Look at that. I mean, I'm just, you know, there's a concern, right? There's a concern.
Oh, for sure. Like, so many of the people I've worked with in the last 25 years are not a part of radio anymore. They didn't like it anymore. They weren't getting paid the right way. If you love it and you want to be it and you feel it, then you can be it. So I would say for people, like, I got into it with internships. They don't really do internships anymore.
Right.
You know, like, this is not even a thing anymore. So I would say,
what do you suggest? There you go. The true
podcast. Start with the podcast. If you get a podcast that gets, or like, look at you. You know what I'm saying? Like, start with anything. Like, do interviews, do podcasts, interview your friends, interview your family. If you see something weird going on in your neighborhood, like, video that and do commentary on that. There are so many ways. Whatever you do, just show your personality, right? Because everybody thinks they're a podcaster too right now. You know how many horrible podcasts there are? So find something different, find something that's unique, really put your personality in there, and then go to radio stations if you really want to be in radio and be like, check this out. Look at all my followers. Look at how many, I mean, we've hired people that are podcast stars. We've hired YouTube stars. Sometimes they suck. Sometimes they're great. Like, so it just depends on whatever you're into. Like, you know how they always say your hobby or whatever you love, make that your career.
Sure.
Whatever you're doing, just put your personality behind it and send it to the radio station and be like, check me out. Look at all these people that follow me. Look at all these comments. Look at all these likes. Look at all these whatever. So there is currency in the likes and the comments and the follows and all of that. There's currency in what you do. So although you can't like do internships at radio anymore, God, I would have been screwed. But everybody has a platform that they can do now.
But right place, right time.
Right place, right time. But there are so many more platforms now. There's YouTube, there's podcasting, there's, you know, Instagram stuff, there's TikToks, there's so many ways that you can show your personality and develop a fan base and use that to move forward and show that you have the chops to do something bigger. And people respect that. So there's no shame in any game. Like, if you do twerk videos all day, if you got 8 million people that watch your twerk videos, there's a place for you somewhere. I don't know if it's in radio, but like, you know, if radio is your thing, if you like to talk, you know, you like to like sit and chop it up all day, like you and I do, there's a place for you. There's a place for everybody. I expect to see you sitting next to me one day.
Why? You know, I wanted to do radio many years ago, you know, but the radio industry was very different back then.
Yeah.
Because it's really who you knew, not just what, it's who you knew. It was very it's
still that. But babe, in any business, it's who you know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but I think the radio industry in Chicago, at least in my opinion, right, was, you know, here's this guy. His name is Goran Davidovac. Okay. You know, Angela Milosevic. You know what I'm saying? And
you changed your name to G Money, and we got a show. Let's go.
Oh, we got this down. We could do it live
I
from
like-
church. We could do it live from church and see what happens.
Live from church?
Live from church, you know.
Oh my God.
So then
I can't do a show from church. Sorry.
yeah, oh, don't worry. After you get married, got the, we're gonna get this
I'm married.
in church, Sestra. In church. We're gonna talk about this later. We can talk about it at Slava. How about that?
Okay.
But I'm just saying it was so difficult to break through, right? That an opportunity opened up for me because I've been in the industry for 24 years now myself.
Mhm.
When it opened up to our community, I was one of the first ones on the scene, almost practically
Mhm.
the first ones on the scene. So we were just right place, right time,
Right time.
with the right people who helped me get there, right? So it's something that there's many people that want to continue getting into radio, right? Do you see yourself staying in radio? Do you
Yes.
go to television? Maybe. I mean,
I've done
oh,
TV.
shit.
I've done a lot of TV. Honestly, I don't like TV. I love radio because TV is very scripted and you have to wait and you're sitting there and there's teleprompter and it's not, you can't really be yourself. I could never say the things on TV that I say on the radio, ever. Like I get to be myself on the radio. I don't have a script. I get paid to just be who I am, which is amazing. I can't believe that people listen to it, but whatever. I'm happy about it. I can't do that on TV. I like doing TV sometimes, I do TV stuff for iHeartRadio. I do the festivals. I do things like that. But as far as like doing TV full time, I would never want to do that. Radio is my love and my passion. I don't know how to do anything else. I would have to be like a stripper. I don't know. I'd be the old stripper in the club, and that's really sad.
No, you don't need to be.
I'd be the Bubba stripper.
No, we're gonna talk to Bubba now then, and we're talking to
Bubba Nada would be like, go. If you make more money, go get.
We're gonna bring Bubba Nada on the show. Hey, Nado!
You would love Bubba Nado. She's amazing. This is when you were playing the Kolo earlier and the Milosh, I was like her towel that she did for me. I was throwing it around. Bubba's everything.
Bubba's our zakon. I agree with you.
But honestly, you can do anything you want to do. And look at what you've done for our community. This is amazing that you have this platform and that you're showcasing Serbs and you're doing something so great that nobody else is doing. I love that. So be proud of yourself. I hope you are. I'm sure you are. You're a Serbian man. You're very proud of yourself.
Very proud. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Taylor, you want to give some final remarks here? Zakrai, what would you want to let people know and words of advice? This is the community waiting to hear from you. We've been staying strong all night, so check out you.
Strong. What's happening?
I'm telling you, they're glad that you. And I'm telling you right now, my phone's
hungry.
Messages are coming through left and right. I'm looking at everything. I'm like, oh,
anything bad? You can tell me the bad ones if there's bad ones.
No, I'll put what Dave put up. He said stripper. Yes,
that's not bad.
Ivana. He's happy, right?
I love that.
Ja ću da nosim suvo meso I rakiju in the morning for the morning program. There you go.
Okay. Love. Hi, B.
Hold on. There we go.
Angie, you need some more. Ivar. Tony. Okay. I'll bring you some mamas next week. Have you had mama's Ivar? Have you had it?
Me? I'm not a big Ivar guy. I like kaimak.
What?
Kaimak. Do you eat chavapi? Do you like chavapi? What's your favorite Serbian food? What's your favorite Serbian food? The čujemo. Ajde.
Burek. Or I love Baba's pita. I love her pita so much.
What's Jason's favorite Serbian food?
Probably pita. I love sarma too. Sarma and pita. Those are like our family.
Anna eats Serbian food?
She loves pita. I make Serbian salad too. You got to have lots of vegeta, and all that. Anything with vegeta.
Vegeta goes on anything, I know.
Vegeta in my bag, swag. Hey, like Beyonce.
You got it. You got it.
So, no, parting words. I would just like to say.
It's all you.
You are the first person that's ever given me a platform to talk to our people in a time where I have been so insecure to talk to my Serbs. And I thank you so much for letting me like tell you my story. And I appreciate just you reaching out to me and this whole program. And I love what you're doing for our community and volunteer everybody. And thank you so much. Like, and if anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm everywhere. You can find me on any social. So thank you so much, Goran.
Hvala tebi od srca for agreeing to participate here. Really, it means a lot to us. It really does. Because, we never knew, možda bi ona rekla, možda you're too busy.
Right. Why you never know?
Life is busy. You know that. If anybody,
Nema strata, Goran.
imaš čerku, živiš u Chicago, listening to the morning.
Thank you.
You've got a lot on your plate. So taking 90 minutes that you did tonight to help get your word across the country to our communities, who will, and I know, are very, very, very proud. And now I think you've just got a new crop of fans.
Well, I couldn't be more proud to represent. Love you all.
We will touch base. Bravo. Angi Taylor, ladies and gentlemen, from Kiss FM 103.5. Jel tako?
Ciao, ciao.
Mi se vidimo jedno kolce za kraj, and Slava next week, Sunday, don't forget.
All right. Okay.
Angi Taylor, veselo živo I to je to. She's gonna call her right out of there. And that does it for us, prijatelji moji, to je to. Hvala što ste se pridružili nama večeras. Mi se vidimo next week. To je to. Angi Taylor. Tomorrow morning, I promise you she'll be sober. No, bye, malo. Laku noć, Angi.
Laku noć.
Prijatelji moji, to je to. Another week down. That's it. Uživajte I čujemo se next week. Ćao.